Hello, everyone. Today is August 14th, and we are starting the HCD robustness test meeting. Let me just fold the current agenda and prepare for today. Yeah. And are there any questions? I don't know if you have ARC or how I should. So your GitHub handle is hard to pronounce. Ahmad
My
or
name is Ahmad.
Yeah.
Ahmad, yes.
Yeah. Do you have any questions? Is there?
Not specifically about this meeting, just I wanted to let you know that uh, luckily we have less failures due to decreasing the repeat number of tests to 120. And
Mhm.
and for the other issue that was related to the pro test names, I took a look at it, and I think the issue is with our namings. I'm not sure yet, but I think that's the issue because our name hierarchy is like test robustness and test etcd high traffic and something something, and the pro is catching them from bottom to above, and I think that's the issue.
Mhm.
I'm not sure yet, but that's my guess. We can
Okay.
diagnose it a little bit and maybe figure out why.
Mhm. Uh, yeah. I think Henry has joined us. So yeah, as Ahmed pointed out, our robustness tests are much greener than before. I think this is before the last changes. I think there are multiple changes that contributed to that, but it looks much better. I'm still working with, I think, James, because one note from last meeting, James has finished migrating or a migration of robustness tests from on ARM machines from GitHub to Pro. So now we have one single dashboard to see the Pro results that includes also ARM architectures. So that's awesome. Like, I mean, more things to look at, but also more greener. Like the tests are much greener. We can see everything in one view. The only thing is that I'm still need to catch up why we have this one job failing, but that's a separate thing to handle. I don't remember why we have a separation of main and this run, so I also need to take a look at that. But yeah, things look much better. I see some notes or from Henry. Unfortunately, he cannot speak directly uh, due to being at work. But you're saying, Henry, that you're working on Tombstone issue. Which one is that? Okay, we can follow it up. But yeah, I don't. Okay, so let me know if you have a link. If there are no questions, I think we can just go to the pro results. I don't think there were any new issues opened, or at least I didn't open or see any new issue in robustness testing.
I'm sorry, I have a quick question. There
Yeah.
was a sequential issue, and I assigned myself and prepared a PR. I'm looking to know what should we do to finish that job. You mentioned that we can do something
Mm,
or add some other logics, like if I remember correctly, there
okay.
was progress notified. Yes.
I'm Yeah, I'm trying to. You mean this one? Watch is synchronous. And
Yes, that is it.
yeah, I haven't looked at. Oh, and I'm not logged in. We'll see. Uh, if I need to think. Um, so the goal was to validate, or I've been reading the code and I was unsure about, like, I asked some questions, but I was unsure about the answer, or some of the reasons for some decisions, and I didn't have time to view it later. And like to make sure to repeat the high level goal. The high level goal is to validate that if there is a client talking to or a client that talks to the server, and every time it requests a watch, and the watch is doesn't specify the revision, the server will return back to the same client a revision that is increasing, so that we have a guarantee that if a client opens one watch after the other, the revision, revision will not go back. It's a pretty extreme case of validation, but this is like problem with watch, that it's hard, or extreme in a way that very technically edge case that we would need to write a test, and technically chances of this happening are, let's say, pretty small. But it's a case that if not for this kind of test, there is really not much things that we can guarantee about the watch, because as an eventually consistent stream, there is no other way to guarantee that watch is progressing. Like, you cannot guarantee, or from at least correctness perspective, you could, the only thing that you could try to guarantee is watch latency, but that's a more of performance thing. So from correctness perspective, that's the only thing we're, and based on the code I read, maybe I haven't looked at it. It's hard for me to say this is valid. Like, what this validates. So
I think
here,
I think when we talked about this few times, I had a hard time understanding what should we do at first. I implemented simple logic, and you told me what about concurrent clients, and I wrote I wrote a function that aggregates all those reports to one and go from there. So it looks at the request and goes to
mhm,
the responses and finds the first uh, first response that its time is bigger or smaller than the current request, and compares the revision. Uh, Current code is doing that, and I'm not sure what else should I do. That's the whole question that I have. I don't know what should I do.
okay. So let's see. If there is a watch, if you look at the code, if there is a watch that doesn't specify the revision, uh, for each response, I don't know why we check this for each response. We just need to check the first response, not all of them. Um, yeah, I at this point I get I get confused, because you can just, if you need first, you can just do if open responses is, if there is no responses equals 0, we can just continue. And if not, let's confirm that the first revision, so like open responses 0, 0 revision, like is, let's say, bigger than last seen revision, or last seen revision, then we are okay. Or let's say, and then it's last seen revision equals, and the last seen revision should be the last revision, so it should be len of op responses -1, so that's the last seen revision. So if the revision like from the first event is less, then we can say to error, or whatever the error we use here. Watch has gone back. Something like this.
Just to remember that it's all the responses from all the clients. So I think mm, I'm not sure if we want to only check the first one.
I mean, first, we want to check all the responses, but we only care about first and last event in the response. Response 0. Oh, because it will be a response 0 event, so it should be. Where is it? A response, and if responses equals 0. Sorry, I meant. I'm tired. So it should be for responses in response events equals, and then I meant something like this. Sorry. Last in revision, and so the last event.
Mhm. So that makes sense.
So we don't care. I mean, there also should be progress notif. We could include the progress notifies, but I don't want to like overcomplicate it. Like simple thing that we can merge quicker than better instead of. So here. So what is, for I don't know, have you ever run the code that you have sent here? It has run, or it was running tests. So this code is technically, it doesn't break anything. So the main thing is that we should have a test for this. Like it's not that we can, the fact that this is robustness testing, so it's self-test. There should be a clear, there is a testing for validation in the testing, no, like not test validate what sequential. Within validate watch there should be validate what sequential, and we have tests for validating watch. So maybe we should add, I can provide you an example of a breaking case. So
Mm, I get it. Okay. I will search for it. No problem. My whole problem was that I didn't know the context. That was my whole problem. And if I get more information, I can create more stuff. But and because I know less and I mostly want to ask you something, and that's the whole process. But thank you. I will check them out.
Yeah, I can think. I mean, just ping me on Slack and ask me directly. I can prepare you a test case for like what I have in my mind. And then if you have a test case, then you can write a validation against this test case and show that your code fails against it.
For sure. For sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Mm, so let me look. So if that's for questions, we can. I think we don't have any recent issues reported. Last is from 2 weeks ago. Uh, I I only fixed all the. I mean, it's sure. I only fixed the previous PR, or only fix and merge a couple of changes to make sure that the tests are green, because it got really bad with the test really being really red. Um, but let's now maybe look at the debugging couple of failures. So if we pick the first one, which is this one, and let's add it to Robustness Pro, what we have here. We discussed. I mean, you were talking a little bit about this, why the logs are broken. I think I have pretty good guess, and I mentioned it during the last meeting, which is fact that we created the cluster before we with in with this within this test we create the cluster which starts writing log, and only later we decide what really fail point we want to inject, and then we start writing other logs and we create a subtest for it. So it means that half of the logs are written to one target and half of the logs are written into the second target, and that's not great. I mean, that's not great. I think I know the fix, but I think it will be. I'm not sure still how to implement it. High level, the reason that we first create a cluster and later decide the fail point is that we need cluster to be, or to get a list of fail points that we can inject. We read them from the endpoint of running etcd server binary, because that's the currently only supported API that provides you a list of endpoints that are supported. So uh, we do that, and so we need to first. So for simplicity, we first just start the cluster and then read the fail points, and then we decide what fail points to inject, and thus later we. So the solution, one idea of solution would be to run etcd server before we create run before we start any testing. We check the binaries and verify what fail points they support before we even start the cluster, and that it would require some rewrite. So maybe let me not note it down. Issue with the robust test log association to or split targets. Reason and the let me remember the reason. We create cluster before we and start logging in in different current test and only later create a subtest for validation. Yeah, fix move deciding move file point vision before cluster file point decision or before cluster creation. So we create a cluster and start trolling to the to main test, then get file points by file points from the cluster and only then we create a subtest with file point name. Yeah, so the fix would be to move the file point decision before the cluster creation, a file point slash subtest name. Okay, let's look at the first flake. Going back to flake, we have a flake on QPS. So that's both easy and hard, but this is an AMD 64, so that's not great. I was hoping that I fixed all the flakiness due to traffic QPS not hitting the limit. Maybe there was some regression on Pro. High level, this is surprising because now we only measure QPS before we start injecting file points, which, yeah, so this is before we file point injection to be reliable. And it means that the Pro has not enough resources to even serve 100 QPS. Maybe we should increase the maybe instance size. Yeah, maybe, or I assume possibly, or root cause not enough resources trigger guessing thing that is more and possible fixes would be to increase instance size or increase sources or make compaction less frequent. So that I think that's high level what could be the cause, or the root cause is cause. It should be clear because that should be a clear QPS before file point injection. So we are just starting at CD server and we're just throwing traffic and it cannot hit 100 QPS. And I think even on my laptop we hit easily 100 QPS. So I assume it's either because of previous problems or previous or something, number of available resources were reduced, or we started making the current load is more resource intensive. Let's look at this. Yeah.
I had another idea that if can we break the current code into a smaller tests. I'm not sure how that's possible, or if it is it is possible or not. But if we can break the current large testing code into a smaller one, we can make sure that the current QPS is actually a problem or a resource issue.
So you're proposing that one other cause of this is sustained load on the instance that is causing exhaustion of burst of burst CPU available?
My guess is that yes.
Because my assumption is that or I don't we can easily verify if the test is failing at the beginning or at the end, and if we have a set of tests that tend to fail at the end, which means we've been running VM for 1 hour, and then in the last hour or last 5 minutes of it, we exhausted I don't know burst CPU, or we exhausted enough resources that maybe we don't have CPU, or like cloud provider is throttling us. Technically,
I think we discussed this a few sessions ago with Shion, and we guessed that maybe lazy FS related tests are so heavy, and maybe we can break those tests into a smaller tests
what is
because because most of them are related to lazy FS.
oh, you're saying this is caused by lazy FS?
I'm suggesting maybe because we have lazy FS on these tests. Uh,
Not every test is running lazy FS, and I don't know if this test is running lazy FS. This test was not running under lazyfs. This is an example of test that runs under lazyfs. It has lazyfs in the name, and the test that failed doesn't have the lazyfs in the name. So it was not, it at least that didn't directly impact the test because we didn't use lazyfs in this test. So it's even a harder point that there was some reduction of throughput, or like whatever caused the reduced throughput. It we should suspect that this is not the most heavy test, that we have more resource intensive tests that use lazy fs. Does
mhm.
it make sense?
Yes, yes, gotcha.
Yeah, so I explicitly wanted to make sure that the tests that use lazyfs are tagged, so it's clear, oh, this test is using lazyfs. It might be more or it can have different performance or problem, could be unique. Okay, let's look at the I skipped the second. Let's look at the or maybe I sorry. This was the test I was looking first.
Yes, yes, that was it.
Okay, so this also doesn't have lazy FS. So that's I didn't make a mistake and aligned the test. Okay, so this test, let's assume this test is triaged. Looking at this test, same TPS. So let's, instead of doing adding a separate section, let's add tests with how to easily classify it. Let's do this requiring, and here is the tests that or runs that failed, and here we have two runs that failed. And here's the first one, here's the second. So okay, so we can like just group them by. So we can also see how many in the last 2 weeks have failed. And here are 3 failures, which is not great. And here we have a failed linearization, not great, but maybe. And here we have QPS and 2 QPS. So let's mark that here we have 1x or 1x Oh, I hate the margins. One time in one time in this one time in this one, and two time two times in this one. I don't. I see. I don't like that it splits my lines, but no, I don't want to change it. I do not have to have it multi-line, and there is no margin. I cannot edit margins easily, I think. So yeah, we have three, but we also have one example of linearization failed. Um, so linearization failed happened on this test, which is high traffic exploratory. So it should be maybe this one. Yeah, due to mix with logs, it might be hard to.
Personally, I search for the second of the test.
Linearization has timed out. Okay, so this is. I assume this is, and we have one linearization timed out. And time out. So we have failing runs. And we have here, and let me how to let's reproduce it. Maybe look at the why it timed out. So I think it would be easier to run it on from my workstation. So let me connect from my workstation because it's more powerful than my laptop. Mm, okay, and yeah, and let me share my. Let me stop sharing here. Let me start sharing here. Okay, and I should have a meeting now, or let me just maybe share my full screen. Here are the meeting notes, and here is the failure, and we can download the artifacts and results. And we can download the latest code to make sure we have the results. And okay, and we have the data. In robustness test, we have the data directory, and let's open it, not as a project, but let's just where is the open? Mm, open in files. So there's some, alt reports. Let's say I don't care about them. And here we have three failures. Do we remember which one is the one with graph before say graph after say? So we can just, I hope, copy it. Copy, paste. No paste. Copy, still no paste. And extract somewhere. Show the files. Hey, Linux. Okay, not that. I wanted to open this and close this. Okay, so now we are done, ready to post. reports. You can try to run test robustness reports and try to see, or I mean, we could have we can run the visualization in the back, weather or linearization in the background, and we can look at the visualization on the browser as it's done. So here we have not the nicest query. Yeah, so we have a lot of failed requests. A couple of them we know the revision for because we can know whether those pesky, yeah, compaction and deletion that we don't know revision for. So we don't know when it happened exactly. And also there is a duplicate compaction, so we cannot distinguish the compaction. If client sent to compaction the same revision, we don't know which one was persisted, which one was not, which is not great. So this is like unfortunate limitation of our visualization. So in this case, we had 6 concurrent clients that make that failed requests, or even more, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 concurrent clients. Yeah, so this is a flag that it's hard to just too many clients. We could start treating them more, even more, but I'm worried about treating even more. I think we should consider lowering the, it created idea. So yeah, linearization passes on my workstation. So it's just the fact that on machines in CI we don't have enough resources to do the linearization. Yeah, so there, like in this case, it needed to consider all the combinations of those requests, and it just not power of n. It's or it's an exponential, and so getting through it requires a lot of CPU. Yeah, it took me over 2 minutes. So on workstation, it could pass, but it's not. So I think we are getting to the level of 10 concurrent requests might be too much. We need to lower it. So this is high traffic. So maybe not even high traffic. Maybe high traffic no longer makes sense because high traffic assumes that we have 10 clients. Yeah, so I would be considering reducing the number of clients to 8, and I know take a loss on that. And so let me I didn't add the change to 8 to avoid And maybe one of the reasons that we are no longer hitting the minimal QPS is also a reduction of the
I see. Yes. Maybe that's the issue. Yes.
number of clients. I mean, I have 200 millisecond request. How many or how frequent? This is high. Or which were those? Those were, or let me see. All of those were on high throughput, high Kubernetes, high Kubernetes, and etcd, or it's hard to say. And let's see. Traffic. Kubernetes always do compaction. etcd always do compaction. So I'm thinking whether we should also reduce number of compactions. If we look at the results, and files here we have test data. So this should be a failure for, or this should be a failure for, yeah, this for not enough QPS. So it's at etcd high. And like, how many compactions we have? 76. I don't know if it's easy to compare, but it's, let's say, if it's 5%, do we need to have the 76 compactions? So this happened. Looking here, we have not enough on etcd high traffic. Here we have on Kubernetes high traffic. Kubernetes handles better than here, so and here we have this should be this, and here is etcd high traffic, and here is Kubernetes high traffic. Now Kubernetes. We could try to remove compaction from here, and how many is here? And move it to more puts. And then in and keep it on low traffic, or like this shape of traffic, keep the low compaction. And maybe in Kubernetes we could reduce number. I don't know. Like if we reduce it to, I don't know, 5 is a nice number, but maybe it's too big. If we reduce it to 2%, we'd have something like this. I know, it would be nice to have a 0.5%, but I don't know, we could do something like this. Like this. And of course, I'm bad at math. It should be something like this. Yeah. And then we have I haven't, maybe I can increase the font because I have reduced it from last time I was presenting. Yeah, so something like this. So, so let me think. Do we need to reduce number of clients? Reduce number of clients can lead to problems with QPS, and if the common cause of the problem is just the requests that we are doing are too heavy. I mean, we can take maybe, yeah. Let's see. This number of concurrent clients and count options to avoid timeouts and to avoid flags, let's say. So let's to give an example, we have increase or QPS, like how it's called, the QPS issue. Not hitting minimal QPS and is expected to be caused by increase by let's avoid it for high throughput test cases. And also reducing number of clients to avoid transaction timeouts. And okay, I don't think I added the changes that I did. Okay, yeah. And let's connect. Maybe one thing. Kubernetes, or this is Kubernetes. What I want to write is please keep the sum of weights equal 1000, and to do the same for HCT. Here, let's keep the sum of weights out. Or maybe I can put it here to 100, and here 100, and then here 1000. And if I don't need to. I'm doing it because if I didn't write Kubernetes, it would fail validation. So if I like verify lint, we have a validation that ensures like that public structures, if they have a comment, it starts from it's a convention from the name of the variable or function or structure. And I don't like it because it forces you that, oh, I want to write a comment about this this variable. I need to do it first. I need to add the first line of comment that describes what this variable does, and second, I can add the information about what I want to put, like this, which is unwritten, like information for motivation why I'm doing something. So I usually don't like to describe what it is because it clearly states it's a Kubernetes. It's a traffic that is for Kubernetes, that Kubernetes type of Kubernetes type, and you have number of keys. Like it should be pretty self-descriptive. And what I want to do is why something is defined. So I want to make sure that someone understands why the weights are like this. It's just because I wanted the sum to be 1000, and I want someone in future to maintain it. But I don't care about explaining that Kubernetes traffic is a type of traffic that we do for Kubernetes. It's a very common in many code bases way of documenting their code.
I got you. That's very smart. I got you. That's better. That's much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, let's push that and get review. No. Who can review it full way? Matt, hope he will be back soon. And Suan, maybe she's still not fully on her holidays or her parental leave. Let's me self-review my CL or my PR. That looks good, I think, and see if it works. Okay, so we classified a couple of bugs. We looked at the failures. I don't know if we will have time to look, but we can note that the improvement, we can write that the improvement that we've proposed was I can just copy based on the flags that we see, at least the couple of them, and I cannot write reducing. Maybe I can commit amend reducing a number of writes, and if there is any compactions, I think that's okay. Let me push it again, and it should be better. At least fixing the commit message. So yeah, the reducing, and then I can just keep it synchronized, that there is not huge difference between what I'm describing in the PR and what I'm describing in the commit message, for someone not to need to look always to find the PR if the commit provides the context. Yeah, that's I think mostly it. We have still 2 minutes. I don't think we will have time to look at the other flags, but we like the current or this level of decision that we need to reduce the QPS or reduce the compaction is just a result of fact that with addition of compaction we found a lot of issues, or at least we found the latest issue, which is the watch being broken if you compact on delete. That is latest revision, and it just results thanks to addition of compaction. But this causes a problem of when we find an issue, it takes a lot of time to stabilize the test, because we added compaction and it impacts many dimensions, both correctness, performance of or our ability to linearize, and we need to slowly or every time we make a big step, we need to sometimes do a couple of small steps back to balance things. And maybe in the future we will be able to optimize or improve the linearization, that we will be able to get back to more compaction, or get back to avoid the QPS issue. But for now, the most important fact is that we have a pretty stable robustness test, which means it is a useful signal. You can see if things will start getting wrong. So if someone introduces, we had one case where I'm already looking at the next. We had a couple of cases where robustness test found a bug in transaction code. We are fixing some other thing with transaction code, and we thanks to linearization, we prevented a bug because it immediately the test immediately went red when we introduced bug. So it's important for us to have this green pasture of that we can easily detect that if there is a change in etcd that would make it red, it's not because of flakes. We can easily distinguish that there was a bug that was introduced in etcd. So yeah, if we look further, it's mostly linearization timeouts, which are much easier to classify and ignore than any other error. Yeah. So I think with this PR is taking 2 steps back, like taking those things back, but it's really beneficial for us to not need to look at to have everything green and not need to look at it, even if it means that we cannot like do enough QPS or for now. I think that's all from my side. If there are no any questions, I think we can finish.
Thank you very much. That was so helpful.
Thank you. So see you.